We've got two guys on the line from MeAndMyGolf. Piers and Andy Proudman are going to be joining me in just a second here. An interview that I've been looking forward to for a long, long time. Two guys that have created a platform that's like no other in the world of golf. And I'm very excited to introduce them and hear more about their story and how they've built this platform. I do want to say thanks to our proud sponsors of Linksole, who make this podcast possible and all of the content that we put out here at 18 Strong. We do have a free weekly giveaway that we're doing these days with Linksole. We have the slip-ons from Linksole and True Linkswear. We're giving away a free pair next Monday, April 13th. All you have to do is go to the 18 Strong podcast in iTunes and leave your rating and review, and their winner will be announced next week. Now, I know what you're thinking if you're listening to this on iTunes right now or on your podcast app and April 13th has passed. Be assured that every week we are still going to be doing the giveaway, so the rules still apply as far as going and leaving a rating and review on the podcast page. And then, of course, if you want to go check out Linksole and get your 20% discount, go to 18strong.com/Linksole to check out all the great gear that they have, and you can get your discount simply by finding the code right there on that page. All right, I'm going to bring in our special guests here today. We have Piers and Andy Proudman from MeAndMyGolf. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Jeff? How you doing?
Absolutely great. Absolutely great. I really appreciate you guys coming on, and this has been something that we've been trying to work out with schedules and everything for a while, and I'm really excited that we can do this in the live format. It almost worked out better that we were able to get this done here, so thank you for your time. I'm going to do my best to split up the questions between the two of you because I know that these live calls can be a little strange when you have a couple people on the line. So, Piers, I'm going to start with you. First of all, I want to know, just give me a little idea on how you guys, first of all, met and came up with this idea of, hey, let's do this golf thing, this MeAndMyGolf thing.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on the show, by the way. And again, from us, likewise, looking forward to being on it. And you, congrats with all the great work that you're doing as well. So, yeah, well done on that. But, yeah, look, myself and Andy have known each other a long time. We played junior golf together. So it's 20-plus years we've known each other. We played junior golf together. We turned pro about the same time. I was probably about 3 years before Andy. And we went through our PGA training, and I think we kind of realized that we never really thought that we wanted to be players. And maybe it was because we weren't good enough, but we never really thought that we wanted to be players. We always wanted to coach. We always liked helping people. And we felt, I think when we had golf lessons off pros, that we really enjoyed that experience and thought, wouldn't it be cool to do the same for other people? So we always spoke about doing something together. The first thing that we actually went to look at was a driving range called Inkbarrow. Is that right, Andy? Was it Inkbarrow?
Yeah, Inkbarrow. I forgot about that, actually.
So this driving range, I've got to tell you this story because it's quite funny, really. We drove down there on a Friday night after we'd obviously finished where we were working at our respective courses. And we got to this guy's house. This is just weird. And we got in the back of his tractor trailer and he drove us down the driving range, which was all being shut down, into this, like, I wouldn't say derelict, but it was very run down driving range. And actually, I remember we were walking through it and we were thinking, this place actually isn't that bad. They got an indoor simulator, but it needed a load of work, and it was quite a low rent for the year. But it was like you needed golf balls, you needed to rebuild the tractor properly, to pick the golf balls up. There was all sorts of things that you need to do, and we just decided it wasn't a good idea. Main reason actually was because there was a very successful driving range and coaching facility, which was easier to get to, not too far away. So we didn't go with that one, but then we eventually went to. We set up an academy at Andy's course that he was at called the Three Hammers Golf Complex in Wolverhampton, and we did that for 6 years. And I think we did really well with that. We really expanded the academy there, and we got used to coaching a lot of people. We did a lot of learning, a lot of training. People that obviously TPI, people like that, and we really got into the learning of how to make people better at golf. And then I think what we just realized was that as we were coming towards the end of our tenure at Three Hammers, that we just wanted to continue to help more people. And there was stuff going on YouTube from the fitness industry more than there was the golf industry that kind of gave us the idea, well, why don't we just, we left the Three Hammers and we went on a mad 3-month trip, tour around the world. So we went traveling for 3 months. All our friends thought we were crazy, but it allowed us to go and meet, very successful golf coaches like Martin Hall. We spent time with Greg and Dave at TPI. We went to Australia, Hong Kong. We did. It was an amazing trip. I wish I could just do it again now, to be honest. Obviously, any travel now would be nice. But, to do a trip like that was just really powerful for us. It got us to learn a lot about ourselves. It got us to understand that we really wanted to travel, but it also got us starting a little bit of content for Me and My Golf, but it really gave us the hunger that when we got back, that this is what we need to do. Me and My Golf is what the future of what we want to do now, because we saw the power of the amount of people that you could reach. And it was we could reach a lot more people than we could do at Three Hammers Golf Complex. And I think that's what sort of turned us on it about, I would say so.
Andy, what did that transition look like for you guys? Were you guys trying to learn some of the tech and doing some of this YouTube stuff by yourself, or did you have a team? Because I know that the learning curve on this kind of thing, especially going from teaching in person, having a facility, what were those travels like, trying to figure out, the end roads and the pieces of the tech piece?
It was tough because me and Piers we're not really tech guys. We're just golf coaches. We haven't got a clue, but we're just golf coaches. So it was like, well, okay, how can we get into it? And it was very simple. It was, we started making the first YouTube videos on just a camera like this, one tripod, one camera, and pretty much we would edit it ourselves. And then as it grew, we sort of had this idea, and we ended up sort of partnering up with a couple of other guys who were tech guys and understood computers and editing and things like that. So as we continued to get more and more into it, me and Piers would do the videos, and then we'd go, okay, guys, can you make that look decent for YouTube? And sort of our job then was like, we're going to be the content creators. We don't really want to have too much to do with the editing, and somebody else can take care of that, which they did, and they did a great job. And that's evolved a lot as well now in terms of the way we edit the videos, but also the team that edits the videos. That's grew over the last few years. And, we've got 3 full-time editors that work for us now who are just nonstop creating content and doing stuff for us. But yeah, we're still not really that much better with technology, even like 8 years down the line. But if you've got a team around you who know more than you, then that's great. You can let them do that. We'll stick to our learning and coaching and trying to do the bit that we love the most.
And Andy, when did you guys kind of figure out, like, hey, this YouTube thing is really kind of working? We're starting to gain some traction. Was there kind of like a turning point, or that little light bulb that went off, like, yeah, this is actually going to be a real thing that we end up doing as our main piece, as opposed to being so much of in-person coaches and working at an academy?
I think it was probably a couple of years in. And I think we were so certain that we could do something good with YouTube. We were like, look, we can make this work, whatever capacity it is. We know we're going to do some good stuff. We can reach a lot of people, and some good things will happen. And I always remember, because Mark Crossfield was probably the first guy who got into the YouTube stuff, and we were looking at what he was doing. And I go, okay, this guy's doing some good stuff. And I always remember that, I think maybe Piers even said, well, Mark Crossfield now is full-time YouTube. He's not doing any coaching. And we were like, it just didn't make sense. It was like full-time YouTube. It was just hard to comprehend. This was probably 7 years ago or whatever it was, maybe 6 years ago. And it was like, I can't believe that's doable as a golf coach. He's going to go full-time creating videos. And well, then as we got more and more down the line, it was like, okay, I can see how that can be possible now. But I mean, we've always continued to coach because it's something that we love doing. So we still coach now every week. And it's something that we're very passionate about, connecting with real people still and learning, learning the mistakes and finding new ways to help them. So, as much as the main sort of core of our business is now online, we're still very much in touch with the general public and helping golfers in the flesh. Because I don't think it wouldn't make sense to do the online stuff if we weren't really out in the thick of it, coaching real golfers.
Yeah, I totally agree that still having that hand in working, face to face with some golfers, or even kind of face to face online like we're doing here, you still get the questions, you still get the real time problems that these guys are having. It just kind of keeps you up to date as opposed to just creating content. Piers, I'd like to know from you, what does your and Andy's kind of schedule look like on a normal week? Obviously, we're in different situations right now, but kind of as far as your content creation and what that process is like, and then how much time is also spent working with individuals or online with individuals.
Yeah, so I suppose that if it goes into two areas. So if we're traveling, whatever the time, let's say we're in Spain, filming, we're going to be there, which was our last trip that we did. It's going to be 10 days of solid filming. So we're there for a purpose, and it is, the last thing we did was we filmed a couple of coaching plans. It was about getting those done. So every day is pretty much into the filming. But we're in the UK. Generally, what would happen is Monday's a good time for us to be in the office with the team, because we have got, there's 10 in the team now, so there's quite a few of us. So we'll be in the office on a Monday. Tuesday, we may still be doing a little bit of planning, and then we coach on a Tuesday afternoon into the evening. And then it could look like a Wednesday, Thursday would be filming again. Friday, back in the office. Saturday then would be a coaching morning as well. So that it kind of sort of pans out like that. So it's a really nice mix. And, we could have that Saturday morning lie-in, but it's like, it doesn't seem right. I'd much rather be up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday and get to the course early and start coaching, because that's what that it really feels, it's quite I don't know, maybe it's a more relaxing time, Andy. I don't know what you think on that, but I think we really enjoy coaching, and it's probably what relaxes us, actually.
Yeah, and I think it's the relationships that we built over time as well. The
Yes.
guys that we coach now are long-standing lessons who we've coached for probably 10 years, some of them. So it's almost like going to work and coaching your friends now. So it's, yes, you love the coaching side of things, and it's just great to be able to continue the relationships with those guys and keep them going, really, because that's what we do it for. And
Andy, are you guys still doing a lot of one-on-one coaching? Do you do more clinic-style coaching when you have those coaching hours? Yeah, it's generally all one-on-one, really. It's all one-on-one at the moment. I think the clinic stuff it's probably an area that we could go into. I think we were talking about this the other day, how it would be nice to do some real, good retreats for people where you maybe go away and have some coaching camps where you can involve, the fitness, the mental side of things, some the whole sort of holistic approach to things. But I think it's trying to free up our time and create some space in the diary and organise all that. But I think we're working towards that. But it's something I think that will happen in the future. But something that we'd really love to do is create these, nice events and experience for people where we can look at them on course, in the gym. We've got the whole team around them that can really help the performance. I've always thought that would be a really cool setup, to be able to do all of those pieces, have some great instructors, have a fitness piece, bring in the entertainment of it, play some golf, have nice dinners. I think that it's a trip made in heaven that most golfers would
sign me up.
Exactly.
I'm there. I think I'll pay myself to go on that one, I think.
Yeah, right? All right, we'll talk after the call. We'll get something set up here.
There we go.
I'm curious, Piers, what's one interview or interaction that you have had with either it could be a professional tour player, it could be a top instructor that you guys have worked with, anything that stands out that was like, man, I can't believe that, from where we were teaching at our academy, now we're interviewing and working side by side with some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, we've been so fortunate. There've been a lot. I think the one that I suppose that really stands out with the first time we did we met Rory for Turkish Airlines Open. That we did a little bit of content with him then. It was very much a quick 5-minute interview, to be honest. But then it was M3 launch, TaylorMade M3 launch, and Rory wasn't able to make a certain shoot, but it basically worked out that we could get to Florida. He was going to be at Florida at his course at the Bears Club, and that we had a window when we could spend, do a really great piece of content with him. And I think that's the one that really made us sort of go, do you know what, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. The fact that we were able to speak to Rory properly. You know, he was doing a commercial for another one of his sponsors afterwards, which we were able to sort of hang around and watch as well. And obviously with TaylorMade, he was doing some more stuff with those guys as well. So do you know what? I think that was what was pretty cool for us, because I think he's still got something about him. He's not obviously Tiger, but if it's Tiger, then it's Rory. That's what I think. I think everyone's general consensus is with Rory. So he's definitely got something a little bit more. And actually, to be honest, he's probably the best one to work with. He's the most professional one. You know, he'll always call people by their names, which I think is a class act as well. He can remember people's names, which sounds crazy, but I think, you know what it's like if someone famous comes and calls you by your name. You know, oh, that's cool. So yeah, I think that would be the one that stands out for me anyway.
He's always, I mean, even from when he was younger and I first even heard about him, has always just seemed like such a gentleman. He's always honest with the cameras. You know, you know how Rory's feeling. You know, good or bad. And I think it's definitely helped him. It's maybe hurt him a couple of times, but for the most part, I think that's why people really enjoy watching him and seeing him in interviews, because they know that you're going to get this straight talk from Rory McIlroy. Andy, how about you? Any interviews or interactions that really stand out?
Do you know what I was as Piers was talking, and I was thinking, and it is funny because there's so many moments where we've sort of had that discussion, me and Piers, where we've gone, you know, let's just take a moment here, just appreciate what's going on, you know. And you know, I think maybe the first one, Piers, for me was when we did DJ at the Ibis.
Yeah,
I think, you know, we got the opportunity to do a video with DJ, and it was like, okay, we're going to interview Dustin Johnson in a minute. And then, you know, we did a bit of prep for it, and it was like, I think we've had several moments in these situations where we've looked at each other and gone, how crazy is what is about to happen, or how crazy is what's just happened? We've just interviewed Rory McIlroy, or we've just interviewed Dustin Johnson. And if you'd have said that 10 years ago, we would have just gone, well, how the hell is that ever going to happen? Or like, we just wouldn't have believed it. So, you know, I think we are very appreciative, and we recognise that the situation when we're in, and we go, well, look, this is really, you know, a privilege to be able to do this. So I think we never take anything for granted like that, and we always sort of go, well, you know, look, well done. This is a great thing that we've done here, and what a position to be in. You know, people would just pay for this, to be in this position, to actually interview and spend half an hour with Rory, asking him about his golf swing or his bunker shots, and the same with the other guys. So yeah, there's just been multiple moments, and it's pretty special that we're able to do it, really.
From what I've seen with your YouTube channel, a lot of the interviews you guys have done, you guys seem like you're very close with a lot of the European Tour players, or a lot of the names from the European Tour and PGA Tour that have come from over there. Who would you say has been the most entertaining or funny guy to hang out with or be able to interview in all of the guys that you've talked to? Andy, I'll go with you first. It looks like Piers is thinking pretty hard on this one.
I am thinking, yeah.
So maybe the funniest guy, and do you know what? I think the biggest character out of the guys on the PGA Tour, I would say Jason Day.
Really?
You know, when he's in a situation, I think so. Yeah, when he's in that situation, especially with the rest of the guys, he's the guy who's joking around. He's the guy who's having fun, and he stands out to me as that guy who's just, you know, he's definitely the entertainer of the group, and he's the only one who really, in that situation when Tiger's there, who can give Tiger a little bit of smack talk, and Tiger takes it off him. I don't know who else could give him that, but it's quite playful with him and him. I think they've got quite a good relationship. So, Jason Day's good, and I think John Rahm's pretty good in that as well. I'm just trying to think who else that we've spent some time with. But yeah, the one who sort of springs to mind is it's definitely Jason Day.
What did you say there, Piers?
Yeah, just agree with Andy. I mean, Rahm is good, definitely. I think, you know, Rahm is good, Rory's good. I tell you who was very good, and we met him for the first time, was Matthew Wolff. He was funny. He was good. He got a bit of, there's a bit of banter going on with him. But I'd say Stenson probably is the other one. I mean, he's obviously a class act, and he's got a great sense of humour as well. And, you know, we did a podcast with him just actually about a week ago, and he was like, at the end of the podcast, we've been going for over an hour, and he's like, "Is that it? No more questions?" But we spent time with him at the Audemars Piguet events that we help sort of MC at and what have you, and coach at, and he's always got time for people as well. So he's a class act, but he's got a good sense of humor as well.
It's great to hear that about John Rahm, because sometimes you see him and he looks so serious on TV, and it's like, oh man, I wouldn't want to get in his way. But we were kind of talking before we got on the air just about being able to see the personality of these guys. And obviously you guys get a chance to do that. And in interviews, I've had a chance to interview a couple guys and see that side of them where, hey, these are just regular guys that love to have fun. They love to play golf. Obviously, they're playing for millions of dollars, which separates them from most of us. But what do you think about the way that kind of the PGA Tour and the European Tour have tried to kind of bring these personalities in? Obviously, social media is a big player in this because we can see that other side. But what do you think about what the European Tour has done, or who else has done a good job of trying to bring these personalities to life?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on what I think, especially European Tour. I think those guys, they did obviously the 14 club challenges. They did the fastest hole in golf, so they do these different things. I think that's massive, and I think that's really important for them, and I think it's really important that the players get involved in that. I mean, they had the awkward reporter one. I don't know if you've seen that one. That's just hilarious. So I think it is important. I know Scratch TV, they do a bit as well. I mean, you got to look at Phil Mickelson. I mean, you've got to look at what he's doing. I mean, he's obviously his fireside with Phil stuff, and we were filming a course in San Diego called Grand Del Mar. We do a lot of filming there, and Phil plays there a lot. And he was just about to go and play with Dave Phillips actually, and he was on the car park, and we said, "Look, is there any chance?" Our manager Matt is a massive Phil Mickelson fan. I said, and he was back home in the UK. I said, "Is there any chance you could just do a quick video for our manager?" And we just wind him up and saying, "Wish you were here. We're just about to go on the golf course." And he was like, "Yeah, no problem. Give me the phone." And he got the phone off us. And he was like, "Hey, Matt, how's it going? Shame you can't be here. Never mind. We're off on the golf course now. See you later." And obviously, and he was cool doing that. He did it in one take. But I think I'd love to see Tiger do something like that. I don't think Tiger would be able to pull it off as much as Phil, but imagine if Tiger just started doing that sort of stuff, telling stories about how he's ground someone into the ground at a tournament and he's destroyed them in the last round or whatever. I think that would be brilliant if we could ever get to that, but I'm not sure that will happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. To see Tiger do that would be incredible, but Phil has definitely gone to another level with his social media. How about you, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same. I think the great thing about people like what the European Tour have done, and I think obviously Keith Pele, who took over, I think I heard a statement from him that he said, "Look, the European Tour is an entertainment company, and we've got to think like an entertainment company." And I think because he's got that attitude now, it's sort of separated them from just thinking golf, golf, golf. And he's just thought, well, look, how can we use these guys? How can we use their personalities and make the European Tour cool? And I think he's done that by obviously doing all these things on social and just bringing it to life, really, and going, actually, like, these guys are normal guys. They have fun, they have a laugh, where you don't see that on the golf course with them. And I think obviously just social media now has given the players their own freedom to put themselves out there, which is brilliant. Some of the guys won't want to do that, but you got people like Poulter and other guys who are more up for that and want to showcase the real side of things and connect with their audience. And I think those guys will do great things. And it's great for the golf industry because it just makes golf less serious, more fun, brings the characters, allows the characters to be who they are themselves through their own forms of media. And I think it's a good thing that we need in golf, really.
Well, speaking of entertainment in golf, I mean, you guys have been creating content that has been not just entertaining, but educating as well. And it's such a great mix of the two, being able to do that, keep it light, but also, providing a ton of great value and content. I'm curious, first of all, Piers, how do you guys come up with so much content? I mean, as far as shooting, I think I was looking on your YouTube channel, there's like over 1,200 videos that you guys have posted. And I know that sometimes for myself, it's like, oh, well, what should we talk about next? And, so how do you guys, what's kind of the planning process when it comes to either creating a bit of a video series or videos? What does that look like for the two of you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not hard for us to come up with something new. I don't know why. I mean, maybe just because I've been coaching for over 20 years now, 20 years, I think it is, and Andy just under. So I think, when you've been coaching that long, you've seen a lot of bad golfers, a lot of golfers who you've helped, hopefully. So there's plenty of ways of getting that content. It's just about trying to put a fresh slant on it, obviously. But as far as the process is concerned, we'll often sort of lock ourselves in a room for 4 hours and come out with a 2 months worth of YouTube content or a new coaching plan for the website, which is the ones that really do take the planning. But as far as that's concerned, we always ask the question, is the person who watches this going to get better? And that is the only thing that really matters to us. And then we find out how we can make it a little bit of fun on top of that, if that makes sense. So it's always about the person watching it. Are they going to get better? And we never want to, if everyone ever said to us, we really like that content, it was really super in-depth, it was a little bit complicated. As soon as they get to that complicated bit, we're like, we don't want that. We want them to go, oh, it was really easy. And we know that some people will look at the content and go, it's just quite simple. But we know that golf should be simple. The more knowledge that we get, the simpler it comes out, if that makes sense. There's some sort of filter going on in here. So it goes in here very complicated and comes out, hopefully as simple as possible.
Absolutely. The simpler, the better. That rings true for me. It's like I'll hear these complicated theories or technique things, and it's like, just break it down as simple as possible so I can understand it. Andy, what would you say are some of the common themes that people are really looking to you guys for as far as their instruction or problems that they have? Because what I found is that a lot of times it's the same questions kind of maybe asked a different way, or from you guys, the same lessons, but maybe kind of taught a little differently so that person hears it in the way that they need to hear it.
Yeah, and I think it's back to the points a little bit in terms of choosing the content. All you need to do is just listen to the audience. What are the questions they're asking? What are they saying? And you're always going to get comments. You're always going to get questions. So, and like you said, Jeff, all the questions are always slightly different. So how they frame that question might spark a different way of putting it across. So, if you think about it, they are very much similar. It's like, well, how can I improve my ball striking with my irons? How can I fix my slice? How can I add yards? How do we start the downswing? Is it with the lower body or is it with the arms? How do I stop my over the top? How do we transfer weight in the backswing, or how do we shift pressures? All these questions, they're very, very common. And I think when we started this so you're going back now 8 years, this is one of the reasons that we started this, because golfers would come to us for lessons, and they were all having the same thoughts, same issues, same problems, and asking the same questions. And we're like, well, look, people are coming to us with these problems. How can we get to them before they come to us? So they haven't got to necessarily come to us. Well, ideally, yes, they'll still come to us. But if we can put content out there that we can educate them on, how do we shift weight in the backswing? What should it look like? And how do we get that pressure into the right leg? Or what should happen to the head? Should the head stay still? Or should we, all these little questions they would ask. We're like, well, let's put the content out there and educate golfers, because once they understand the right concept and they've got the right image in their mind and they know what we're trying to achieve, golf becomes a lot easier. And I think people were coming to us for lessons and not really having a clue of what the concepts were. How do we strike down on an iron? How do we hit up? Should we strike down on an iron? Or, all these things. Should we keep that head still? I've been told by my friends this, my left arm should be straight. All the common themes that people ask us, we're like, okay, well, there's a need for this because it's a problem. What we wanted to do is, if there's a problem here, everyone's coming and asking the same questions. Let's provide a solution. And I know if in the next 5 years, people aren't going to all of a sudden stop asking to fix a slice. They're not going to have cured it, and they're not going to be saying, I've fixed my ball striking. They're still going to have the same issues, but there'll be new ways and new ideas and new technology and new coaches that will enable us to put it across in a simple way that might be different to how we put it across before. And that's how we freshen it up, I suppose, really.
Piers, what's some of the newer technology that maybe you guys are using either to help with your instruction or even to help kind of produce more visual graphics or whatever it might be that's helping your audience very much that we didn't have, maybe 5 years ago?
I think the main one that we talk about is TrackMan. I mean, that's the main sort of piece of modern day equipment that I think a lot of people are understanding a lot more. They see the players on the tours using it, and it's very much like a universal reference point for good golf. So I think that's something that we've used a lot just to help people get a little bit more of an in-depth understanding of it. But again, we know what TrackMan's like, and if any amateur golfer were to go and buy a TrackMan, and obviously, granted they're very expensive, but if you were to buy one and have all 27 tiles up at the same time, you have just destroyed the golfer. We know that. Yes. And I think that's something that we spoke to the guys at TrackMan about and said, look, we're very keen that, we're going to talk about your product, but we're going to make sure that people are just only understanding a couple of things at a time maximum. So I suppose that's one thing that we use as far as the technology is concerned. There may be other things that we want to, we've done work with Body Track before, we've done work with Blast Motion before, and we've got some pretty cool pieces of kit. But I mean, again, you've just got I think the best way that we can put across, coaching online for us to make it simple for someone is obviously keep the wording as simple as possible, keep the drills as simple as possible. And if we can throw in a few cool graphics which make it look good, number one, but number two, make sure that it tells the story better. That's kind of our approach when it comes to coaching. Let's just make sure that it is just so simple for them.
I love seeing some of those graphics because it really does help to kind of convey the message that you're getting across and what's really happening or kind of what the feel is that you want in some of the different videos that you guys are doing. Andy, I'd like to know from you just as far as the teaching aspect and you guys working with, not just providing content, but working with a large population of people. I think you guys have an app, or what's the best way for people to be able to kind of connect with you and actually learn a little bit more intently from you guys?
Well, I think our main platform is the website. We've got obviously all the social media channels, which is sort of, I suppose, gives people a taste of what we do and some very useful tips and things on there. But our website's our main, I suppose, our premium content, where if somebody really wants to go deeper in there and really focus intently on making some real improvements, but with structure, then MeAndMyGolf.com is where they go. And I think that, as Piers mentioned earlier about the coaching plans for us are have had some amazing success. And we designed these because people will go into the range going, well, I've got this slice or I've got this issue. How do I even go about fixing it? Where do I start? What do I do? How do I practice? So all the coaching plans for us are very much okay, week 1 you do this, week 2 you do this, and very structured, detailed, but very simple, that enables them to get to where they want to get to without wasting time, as opposed to, it's almost like an 8-week fitness plan for golf. It's like, well, look, I want to lose 5 pounds in 8 weeks or whatever it is. Well, look, I want to save 5 shots in 8 weeks. It's a step-by-step. This is when you practice. This is how you do it. These are the drills that you need to do. And these are the other areas that you can do on the course as well that will supplement that, really.
Speaking of fitness, I know both of you guys, obviously very fit guys, keeping up in shape for your golf game. Andy, what does your personal fitness routine kind of look like these days, especially, when you guys are typically traveling and doing all these other things, being very busy guys? I think it's important for the golfers to kind of see what are the ways that you guys either squeeze it in or really schedule out the time to make the fitness a priority.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it is as well, Jeff. Fitness for me, and I know for Piers as well, is a priority. So it's almost like the one thing that I've just got to get done for the day. It's like if I can get my workout in, it's just helps everything else. It helps me stay mentally good, physically good, and I just feel strong throughout then. So in terms of a routine, I love lifting weights. So I go in the gym and I'll lift weights around. And something I've got into over the last couple of years is doing more yoga. I've done a lot more over the last 2 weeks because we're stuck indoors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing that sort of 5 times a week. But it's when you're on the road, it's great as well because you're traveling around and it's like, great, we're going to go and we'll book a place where we go to. And it's like, okay, where's a local gym? And you'll go find a local gym and you'll trade in a new gym with different equipment and different atmosphere. And it's sort of, it's nice to get that variety of something. So I think everywhere we go, we're excited to go and check a new gym out and just go, okay, let's go and train in there. It's a good experience.
It's probably more important location to the gym than it is to the actual golf course where we're filming, I think.
I love that. Yeah, because sometimes you'll go to a hotel and it'll have like this little rinky-dink gym, and then it just, you can't get done what you want to get done. How about you, Piers? What does your kind of fitness routine look like? What do you like to do? What do you kind of think is most beneficial for your golf game?
Do you know what I mean? It's with all the travel and that, and the amount of time we spend sitting at a desk now, it's fighting off the old upper cross syndrome, I think, more than anything. So Theragun gets used quite a bit. But yeah, you know what, you got to keep yourself. I have to manage a right hip issue as well. So I've had an injury in that really for the last 10, 12, probably even longer now. And so I manage that. But again, similar to Andy, just love lifting weights. And I think if we don't do it, I think it has more of a mental negative effect than it does on the body, if that makes sense. I think we're both in a pretty good place as far as fitness is concerned. But if we stop training, then mentally it would definitely be an issue. Something I'm doing at home here now, and we've done some content on, obviously, Kyle and Mike at Super Speed, obviously great product. We actually tested some golfers, did some content with that, and I had 7 golfers. Was it 7 or was it 8? No, it was 8 golfers, and all 7 got faster. And I wanted to really go into it. Sorry, 7 out of the 8 got faster. The other guy got injured actually playing soccer. But I wanted to really have a good go at that myself, and I've never done that before. So I'm only a week in on that training, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to and seeing what that can do, because I think it's the results are pretty good. I mean, you know how good those guys are, so I'm hoping after 6 weeks there's some more speed there.
Yeah, but
nothing from you, Andy.
Whatever Andy says now. He's just trying to stay with me, Jeff. That's all it is. He's obviously losing his speed now, and the gap's getting bigger, so he's thinking about closing it back. Don't worry about that.
Andy lies a lot about a lot of things.
That's his motivation right there, Jeff. Don't worry.
I mean, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, Andy. You got to pull out every trick in the bag. As you guys know, we're huge fans of Super Speed Golf. They're a sponsor of ours over here, and anybody listening can go to get their discount over there at superspeedgolf.com. Use the code 18strong. We're huge fans. I'm curious for you guys with your workout routines, and I'll go with you first on this, Andy. Do you actually have like a structured program that you're going through on most occasions, or are you kind of to the point where you go in, you kind of know what you want to do, and maybe mix it up a little bit here and there?
Yeah, I'll sort of create my own programs, and I'll do it for a little bit, and then I'll change it up. So generally, let's say maybe 4 weeks. I'll have a program from the gym, and then I'll change it up again. So I'll sort of new exercises and things like that. But the yoga stuff, I'm doing just a variety of stuff. So at the moment, there's no plan for the yoga, but I'm really enjoying the getting more supple and really doing going down the mobility work now. It's just I wish I'd have done it years ago. Like I wish I'd have done yoga like 15 years ago. And I think one of the reasons that I took that up was because of the average person who comes to see us, the sort of 45 to 50-year-old guy who you're asking to turn, and there's not a chance he could turn because his mobility in his hip is poor or his thoracic spine's poor. And you're like, well, okay, well, that could be me in 25 years' time. But so I'm like, right, well, okay, what are the things that I can do? So when I do get to 45 or 50, I'm still mobile. I can still play golf. I can play this game for a long time and stay injury free. So I've heard so many good things about the yoga that I wanted to get started, and I'm really excited to see. I'll be doing the splits in about a year, no problem. I'm really excited to see how far I get with it. Really,
it's a one-time deal, that is. If he does it once, he's never doing anything else again. I'll tell you.
I want a picture of that right on the tee box. Piers, I'll put you in charge of that. Andy, doing
okay, no problem.
How about you? As far as your workout routine, are you a very structured guy? Do you like to mix it up a little bit?
Yeah, it is structured. It is actually very structured at the moment because I've got so Andy Caldwell, active therapy. He does, in my opinion, one of the best physios in the UK. We've been using him with a lot of our clients over the years. He understands exactly what's going on with my body. So yeah, he's I've got he does my workouts through Trainerize, so I have that doing that at the moment. So he's adapted that for at home as well. So I haven't actually got much room at home. So as far as workouts concerned, it could be tricky. But yeah, I've done a few runs as well. I was doing 10-second interval sprints last night, about a mile in total, and it nearly destroyed me. But yeah, it's good. I will always. I think the good thing with Andy Caldwell is that he will make sure that I will do things properly. If I'm left to my own devices, I might not do things that well, if that makes sense. I might get a bit carried away. So yeah, he's trying to control me a little bit, which is probably a good thing.
It's always good to have somebody else kind of doing the program too, because they'll make you do the things that you don't want to do. They'll make
Correct.
you do the things you need and don't want to put in your own program.
Absolutely.
That's why I also have a good buddy of mine and strength coach put together a lot of my stuff, because you just tend to do the things that you like to do, and you don't challenge yourself sometimes. I'm curious for both of you guys, being kind of in this situation where we're all at home and kind of stuck, not being able to travel and go out and do our normal things. What's been kind of the most unexpected positive out of this situation of you maybe having to slow things down and not being able to do your normal routine? Piers, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the last 3 weeks have probably been as busy as it's ever been, and I think that you're absolutely right. So what we did was when it sort of got serious here in the UK, and it was getting serious in other places, we kind of went on social media and said, look, it's obviously very difficult times happening at the moment, but myself and Andy and everyone at MeAndMyGolf we're not going to dwell on that. We're going to just do as much as we can to help people out in this period. And by doing that, by us creating a lot of content, doing a live virtually every day, getting special guests in, doing podcasts with people that, we wouldn't have been able to do a podcast with the people we've done in a 3 or 4 day space that we did like a week ago, because they'd be on the road traveling and playing tournaments. So I think the ability for us, I suppose, so what I'm getting at, the most positive thing for us is the amount of people we've been able to create live content or podcast content with that we just haven't been able to do because of the reason we're doing this podcast with you now, because it's just a little bit easier because we're not having to be stuck in a car or on a plane. We do have that time. So I think, yes, being able to connect with people, share stories and share how they do things, and just help out people who are at home who are trying not to get divorced.
How about you, Andy?
Yeah, I think there's been so many positives from this, and I think myself and Piers are always pretty good at asking the right question. And I think when there's ever a tough situation, we're always like, okay, yes, it's tough, but what's the opportunity? What can we focus on that's going to be a positive, really? So we did reach out to guests, and we thought people are going to have more time. Let's get the podcast going. Let's do some lives. But I think one thing that I've really enjoyed more so is just having a little bit more time to dedicate to the followers. So over the last couple of weeks, we've done a few lives, but we've done it where we've had some guests on, but we've done it where we've brought in some of the followers. So we've gone, okay, let's just go live and let's just bring in a guest. They can whoever wants to come in, we'll accept them as a live, and then we'll answer their questions about their game. And some of them are swinging, some of them haven't got the club in the hand or whatever. And I think I've enjoyed that the most, really connecting with some of our followers. And I think I did one the other day, and I had 2 guys from New York. There was 1 guy from South Africa. There was another guy from the UK, who I all invited in and asking questions about their game. And it's like, oh, this is great, because you're basically just giving them a lesson in 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. And you've been able to connect with and see the person behind the comments. Normally it's like, oh yeah, great. That tip's great. That helps. But now you're getting to actually interact with them and speak with these guys and be able to, to make a difference and connect with them. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've enjoyed. And that wouldn't have happened if the coronavirus weren't here. It wouldn't have happened because it's just, we're too busy trying to do other stuff. But actually, this has brought us back to, I'll tell you what, let's take care of our followers. Let's really go all in on sort of serving and helping them, really. So yeah, that's been a big one.
That's really cool. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the way that people are communicating after this whole thing is over. A lot of people are getting very creative as far as what they're doing, which is going to spark a lot of new ideas and new platforms. And it's really cool to see guys like you doing that. I think that's such a great idea of bringing somebody in, helping them with their live. It's really cool to see that, you know, with all this time, we can create so much content, but also, you know, help so many of the people listening to the show. I'm curious, what are each of you guys doing just on a personal level, TV wise, reading wise? How are you spending a little of that, hopefully, extra time that you're having throughout the days at home? Andy?
So yes, that's a good. You know, there's a few things that I've done more over the last 2 weeks. I've been going for more morning walks early. I love getting up in the dark. I love getting up in the dark and going out, and all you can hear is the birds, and there's nobody else around. So I've been doing more walks. I've actually started meditation. So I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but I'm like, right, I've got some time now. I think I'm on day 17 at the moment, and I actually did one the other day. I just completely fell asleep, so it didn't really work. That one didn't. I just woke up after 10 minutes. I was flat out. But I've done meditation. I'm currently reading this book, and I started it. What day is it today? I don't even know what day it is today. Friday. I started the book this week, and I'm halfway through the book in a week, which is good for me. It normally takes me about 3 or 4 weeks to read a book, but I'm halfway through after a week, which is good going. I'm going to see if I can finish that by middle of next week. So yeah, more reading, more time to meditate, more walks, more yoga. So it's for some reason it's like, hang on a minute, how am I fitting all the work in? But I think there's just less travel time and more time at home, just and no social time either. So
sounds to me, Jeff. Sounds to me as though he's not working hard enough, Jeff.
Yeah, right. I mean, crack the whip over there. Are you using any kind of a meditation app for your meditation practice?
Yes, the Karma.
Nice. I've used that when we've actually started doing a little bit of meditation with our kids in the morning too. You know, with our family, we have 3 kids, and you know, so we're trying to keep structure throughout our day. So my wife and I kind of do a little meeting with the kids in the morning. What's our schedule going to be? And then before we go off on our way, a 5-minute meditation. We've been using that Headspace app, but it's been interesting. Some days they're into it, some days they're not. How about you, Piers?
Love that. Yeah, but lots of similar things to Andy. You know, you're doing a bit of reading. Meditation as well. Muse 2. I don't know if you've seen that. Been doing that with so it's like the sensor goes on, kind of looks like this. Mm-hmm. So yeah, kind of feel like I'm Professor X in X-Men a little bit, but that's cool. That's cool. And I suppose that another thing that done is actually made a real effort to actually call people and speak to people. I think it's because of doing all these lives. You're thinking so. You know, you think, well, actually, I probably have got a little bit of time to contact people, because what generally happens when we're working, if we're filming, your phones are off, obviously. If you're in a meeting, if me and Andy are planning for 4 hours or 5 hours, our phones are off. The only time you get time to phone somebody is when you're driving, and that's probably someone who's at work. I'll probably with Andy all day, and I'm driving home and I'm phoning him, you know, because of something that we've forgotten to talk about, or phoning the manager or whoever. So I think, yeah, just speaking to friends and family, and just actually having conversations with them. That's been really cool. And I've probably been doing, I'd say, 3 to 4 a day, and kind of, you know, the conversation usually goes along the lines of, "This is really good. We should do this more often."
Right.
But I think that's I think that's the big thing that I've put into this. You know, just make sure you do that.
Cool. All right, fellas, I got a couple questions that, since this is the first time on the show, we like to ask everybody a couple final questions here to have a little fun. So, Piers, I'll start with you. Cool. Caddyshack or Happy Gilmore?
Caddyshack.
Andy? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with Caddyshack because I just like that humor. I just like that humor. And, yeah.
Awesome.
Police Academy humor. It's just like that. Yeah, it's brilliant.
If you could pick a song, a walk-up song to the first tee box, Andy, what would yours be?
Oh, God.
Never been asked that before. I love that question.
I really like that. A walk-up song.
I've got it.
I don't know. I don't know. Pierce, you go for yours because I'm
I
thinking
would
about. If
say,
you've got yours, you go for yours.
yeah, for me it would be Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Very nice.
Would have to be.
That'll get the blood pumping.
Yeah, not a.
I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I like so much different music. Do you know what? I think it would. It depends on the situation. I'm gonna go with two. The
He's got a slow walk.
Okay, so if I was wanting to get fired up, then it would have to be some hip hop, like probably maybe some Jay-Z or something like that.
Okay.
But if it was like, look, I want to just chill out, I'd have Frank Sinatra, maybe The Good Life.
Yeah.
The Good Life, Frank Sinatra, where I could just, it's like on a Sunday afternoon, I'm gonna have a nice, relaxing game of golf here. Frank Sinatra plays, but if I'm trying to get fired up for the Ryder Cup, then whack Jay-Z on.
I think that's perfect. I think you should have a different mentality, different songs for different mentality, different styles of play. That's great. Piers, if you could pick one person to play a round of golf with, could be somebody from the past or from the present, to play a round of golf with, who would it be and where would you play?
Ooh. It's very easy to say Tiger Woods at Augusta, isn't it? Tiger Woods at Augusta. I think, yeah, why not? I think it would have to be. I'd want to know, because you remember the shots that he's played around there. I'd want to say, right, let's go to 16. Let's go and have a little chipping comp. Well, not chipping comp with him, obviously, but it wouldn't be a competition. But yeah, just picking his brains about that, and as long as he was able to talk to me a lot and really want to talk to me a lot, then I think that would be cool. Yeah, I'd have to do that. How
about you, Andy?
Well, as soon as you said that, I said my thought was Tiger Woods Augusta. It was just the same, but because that would be my first choice. But to make it different to Piers, I would say maybe Nick Faldo at where's the course? Where's the course I'd want to play?
St Andrews.
It'd have to be an open course. Yeah, it'd have to be an open course. So probably St Andrews with Faldo, I think.
Pretty good.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. We don't usually ask this question, but what's one of the most interesting rounds that you've played, or who's the most interesting round, or who's the most interesting person that you've gotten to play a round of golf with?
Wow.
And where was that?
Okay. I got one. I'm gonna go in with this. This was a really weird situation, because we got invited. We were doing some content in LA, and we were. This was with Eric Anders Lang, and he wanted us on his podcast. He says, we'll go and play golf, which we did, and he says, we'll do a podcast after, and it's at Bel Air Country Club. And we're like, okay, that's fine. We'll come to Bel Air Country Club and whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So we roll up to Bel Air Country Club, and it's one of those moments again. We're like, how the hell have we ended up at Bel Air Country Club? How's that even happened? And the guy who was hosting a Christmas party there, we got introduced by Eric. He was one of Eric's friends. Eric didn't know, but this guy, Miles, was a real fan of ours. He'd watched all our videos. He'd saved a lot of videos in his phone, made loads of notes. And he was an actor as well. He'd been in some movies. He was in Final Destination. He's done loads of other stuff as well. And real nice guy, really interesting guy. And he invited us back to play golf there maybe a couple of months later at Bel Air. And I think he's just a really interesting guy. And the experience we had on that golf course, he loves history. So we're going around there and he was saying, see that house, this is his house. And he was telling stories about the golf club and the history of the club and giving us a tour of it. And it was just like, it was like being in a film ourselves, really. So that was that was really interesting guy, really nice guy, and a real different experience that I definitely won't forget.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool game. I think I've got a couple. Again, one that you wouldn't really think of. Oh God, I forgot his name. It was a guy we played with in LA as well at Mountain Gate, and he was a Jack. Was it Jack or Jacob? It was Jacob, wasn't it? But he called himself Jack. That was it. But he was a surgeon, and he had a rude name for every shot that was ever played in golf, and that was hilarious. So I think me and Andy were playing the course, and he was a single playing behind, and he joined us on the third, and then he carried up. We played like 16 holes with him, and it was hilarious. But I would say, I'd say that probably the best experience on a golf course I've ever had. I'd say it would have to be 2 days before one of our best friends' weddings, who was a pro at St Andrews at the time. And we played the old course. It was me, Andy, a guy called Kevin, who I was best man for, and his future brother-in-law. And it was just, I mean, it was St Andrews for the first time. It was super cool just playing there anyway. But playing there in that situation with a real good friend's wedding, and the guy his brother-in-law, who's probably about a 10 handicap, really nice guy, but he's like 6'3". He's a big, strong guy. After the fourth hole, it looked like he was just about to burst into tears. He hardly said a word for the first 4 holes. He'd been playing PlayStation all week, practicing on the golf course. He was just so emotional, and I think that kind of just sort of summed it all up. And I think he even birdied the last, and it was almost like we were watching this guy, this amateur golfer, but also watching this guy just play golf and just having the best time of his life, and we were kind of doing the same thing as well. So that was pretty cool. I'd go with that one.
All of those stories just speak to how incredible this game is, and the different relationships that we all foster through this, and different people, different experiences, and you never know when it's going to come too. It's like a guy randomly joins you on the golf course, and it turns out to be one of your favorite experiences. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was cool.
Well, fellas, I can't thank you enough for your time coming on the show. I know with your busy schedule, you guys have a very busy day, have several lives today, I believe, but really a pleasure and an honor to have you on. It's fine. It's nice to finally get to meet you and hang out a little bit and get to know your story a little bit more. So thank you for joining the 18 Strong podcast.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We did it.
We did it, man. We did it. All right. We'll be in touch very, very soon. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks so much. Jeff. See you later.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on the 18 Strong Podcast, live podcast with MeAndMyGolf here with Piers and Andy. Once again, thanks to our sponsors, Linksoul, for everything they do for us here at the 18 Strong Podcast. And don't forget to go over to the 18 Strong Podcast in iTunes to get a chance to win a pair of Linksoul and True slip-on shoes. You can do that by leaving a rating and review over on the podcast app. And one quick thanks to our other sponsor, Super Speed Golf, for everything they do for the podcast. Go to superspeedgolf.com and use the code 18strong to get your discount. We will be coming at you with many more live podcasts in the very near future. Thanks again for joining us. Train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.